Tonight on the Game On podcast, South Australia take it up to Queensland in the Shield and now sits second on the table.
Can't say go the Redbacks up.
Port Adelaide to play finals in the AFLW for the first time. And a record no one wants. Tasmania destroy Western Australia, losing 8-1.
It was like a kid's scoreboard. It was lovely.
It was. All right, let's do this. Welcome to the Game On podcast. My name's Pete, once again, joined here in the studio with Malcolm. And let's start off with a bit of cricket. But before we do that, mate, I've got a little something to play here. I couldn't believe my ears.
Correct, Malcolm. You're out.
Yes, Joe.
I reckon this could go off. Malcolm's
Big
as sharp as anyone
Well,
I know.
I think Malcolm's won the $1,000 before.
Have you
No,
na-
never
no,
before.
No, he's never.
Haven't you?
I've never been on
He's
this
never played it.
Blue Boy.
What about the Alma? At the Alma?
No.
No.
No,
No,
never
okay.
been on at the Alma
All
either.
right, okay.
All right,
All right.
let's play.
How old am I turning today? 43, 53, or 63?
Probably body of 83, but 53.
What is Bluey's middle name?
Gregory Scott,
Yep.
What's my test batting average? Is it 34, 44, or 54?
34.
Bluey's dad represented South Australia in the 70s. What's his name?
Bob,
Yeah.
True or false? I scored a century in my first two tests.
true.
In what year did Bluey make his test debut?
94, 95.
What is my AFL team that I follow?
I think you Crows.
How many test centuries did Bluey make?
4.
What am I a member of? What golf club?
Kayonga,
How many times did Bluey get out on 99 for Australia?
twice.
How many seconds left?
Oh, there's still about 6 seconds.
This is elite.
Jeez, he
Bloody hell, Malcolm.
wasn't sure on a couple,
No,
but
No, I weren't.
He
No, I
backed
wasn't.
himself in. All right, well,
okay.
let's check the scoreboard, Tim Pine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
yeah, baby.
Beautiful.
Thousand smackaroos, Mal.
Thank you, Gregory Scott. No, I admit I wasn't sure on Kayonga. That was the one I wasn't sure of.
Why?
I wasn't sure if you were Kayonga or Royal Adelaide.
Okay. Well, I was
Right.
Tea Tree And for 30 years.
And they kicked
Petrie
you
Gully,
out.
well and truly.
And then, I wouldn't go near Royal Adelaide, so Kooyonga it is.
Oh, well done.
I love Royal Adelaide as well. Well done, Malcolm.
Thank you, Gregory Scott.
All right, mate.
Greatly appreciated.
well
okay.
played.
Spend it wisely, my friend.
Currently not working, so yeah, it will come in handy.
Nice.
So just trying to sell the book with Gregory Scott, with Gregory Blewett in it.
What's the book called, Malcolm?
The definitive rule book. It's not about the rules. It's rule book's my nickname. It's 40 interviews of past players, and it's not only about their career but life in general.
Good man.
Very good. And it's a good book. So, well done, Malcolm.
Thanks, Blue Boy.
Enjoy the $1,000, mate.
Thanks, Bluey.
How good does that feel? How good does that feel? Thanks to Auto Masters, our
Brilliant.
very dear
And
friends.
I love giving money away.
Well, mate, there's no need to ask you what your good of the week was because that was an absolute beauty. Thanks to Triple M and the rush hour there, and obviously Bluey and Roo and Ditz, I believe.
No, Bluey and Jars. Bluey and Jars.
Jars.
Bernie's on holidays this week,
Right.
so on the rush hour bit. So thank you to Bluey and Jars especially. And I've got to admit, it's been a weird couple of days because then life on the other foot. Some lady backed her car into myself in a car park today and tried to do a runner. And let's just say it's been a couple of, one extreme to the other, mate.
You've had the yin and the yang here, mate.
Yeah.
Mate, as we like to do, we like to give our sponsors a plug, and I'm assuming Roger Steen is going to be on the speed dial, mate.
I have spoken to Craig, obviously, this afternoon.
Yes.
So, yes, I will be seeing him tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Yes.
Best of luck with that there. And then obviously our other sponsor there, Gary KRIEVS.
Yep.
Anyone out there looking for a house or a rental apartment or anything to do with real estate, Gary's our man.
Yep.
But we'll get into that in a minute. All right, mate, let's get into Around the Grounds.
Around the Grounds.
All right, today we're going to talk a little bit later on about the basketball, the AFL and the AFLW. But now that it's officially cricket season, we better start off with the cricket, mate. What a win for South Australia against Queensland.
Yeah, fantastic start in terms of, so we've drawn with New South Wales and then beaten Queensland away and beat Queensland last year in Brisbane as well. So it's been which is, I've got to find out when's that last time it's happened. It is ages.
Yes.
So, yeah, great win. Look, set up by Nathan McSweeney and Alex Carey and Henry Hunt, all at various stages with a bat. Kez had a great game.
Yes.
9 catches overall. Nathan McAndrew, 8 wickets for the game, 5 for in the second innings. And at one stage it looked like Queensland were going to hang on for a draw, and then they collapsed. They lost 6-1, actually. I've forgotten about that in terms of that regard. So they were going down like 9 pins. So, yeah, I admit there was a bit of celebration when that was happening. And, yeah, so we're second and we play Victoria coming up later in the week here. Of course, with the Australia A game, and yet to see the squads. And so it's going to be interesting to see with the squads in that regard.
We'll talk about that one in a minute. But South Australia, and you're the stats man here, and I'm sure you would have some idea, but 2 wins away in a row, that's probably the first time in a while.
So we had a draw and then a win. But it's 2 wins in a row in terms of playing in Queensland, winning last season and this season.
But
that's
a win and a draw against some quality opposition, probably for the first time in a little while here that we've seen that.
And now it just makes a massive game against Victoria. Victoria beat New South Wales.
Yep.
So basically very similar on the table. So a huge game setting up this week. They've also lost guys to Australia. So, yeah.
It sort of balances itself out.
Yeah, it does. But, McSweeney, I'm not sure. Travis didn't play last Shield game because of the birth of his second child. So hopefully Travis is back.
Mm-hmm.
And so Travis and hopefully Alex plays. Again, annoyingly, the squads haven't come out.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll see where we are. But it's a huge game.
Unusual for Australia A games to be sort of scheduled at the same
time?
No,
they do. They do clash, So, and as we know, so the Australia A game against India effectively comes a bat off for the other opening spot.
Yep.
And look, Bancroft, I don't think they'll pick Bancroft. He did make a pair first Shield game. He hasn't made runs in Shield yet this year.
Yep.
So that side of things. Harris, look, Constas, who I think is a distinct possibility.
Yep.
Let's remember he does come from New South Wales.
Yep.
But look, he's probably the most junior that's been spoken about since Ricky Ponting as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
There's been big raps on him for a while within cricket. So I still think he's probably the front runner. But I think Nathan McSweeney is still a big possibility as well.
He's certainly put up his hand, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it's just going to be interesting to see the Australia A game on what the batting order and that is, because you've got Constas, Bancroft, McSweeney and Harris. So how that's going to fit in the top 4 and how they go from there.
Now, McSweeney's captain, does he have control over the lineup?
He's certainly involved in it.
Yep.
I think with this, it wouldn't be just the captain sets it, because of the setup of the game.
Yep.
So, yeah, look, not sure on that, but it's probably going to be one of the more Australia A games where you're actually going to follow it a bit more, because they've been a bit Mickey Mouse games.
Mm-hmm.
Australia's named a stronger side. Now, hopefully India will go with a reasonably strong side as well, especially after they've just lost
to New Zealand.
Yep. So you think they might go, right, we've got to prepare a bit better on this and play. So I think it's got the potential of 2 pretty strong sides.
Does that sharpen them up a little bit, losing to New Zealand? Like, hey, we need to start doing the work here?
I would hope so. And I think Rohit Sharma is unavailable for the first test. So purely him being unavailable, I think it's going to put pressure. Hey, we're going to have to play a full-strength side. But you've got Rohit Sharma and Kohli have both been struggling as the senior players. Maybe I think we probably, India and Australia, a little bit of a similar boat. There's a transition period coming. Yep. So, yeah, after losing in New Zealand and after New Zealand have been beaten by Sri Lanka, that it's going to put the pump. So I think, I do think they'll be pretty full-on sides, I think.
So I hope so. Swing back to Australia here. Yep. Obviously, young Constas there. is the front runner. You're sort of saying, is this the right series to blood him if they do go down that track? And if they do they stick with him for, say, 2 tests, maybe?
I think
3,
they've got to go with him.
and go with him for the whole lot.
Go with him.
That's fine.
That's how I think.
Yep.
Look, there's two lines of thought there. There's the thought, well, hang on, is he ready?
Yep.
Only 6 games. Is it too big a series? But then there's also the other thought, well, hang on, Kawaja's 36. If he has an off series, so therefore you want to bring in 2 new opening batsmen.
Yep.
There's also the thought, okay, if we go with Constance now, he's going to have played Test cricket for a year before playing England in the Ashes. So there's conflicting thought processes there. And
what are your thoughts on that? Which way would you go?
Look, I wouldn't mind to see the kid play, but I do think the other player who's got to be considered because of his Shield form over the last couple of years is McSweeney. Now, Inglis's name's been mentioned. Well, he's had a purple patch at the moment, but he's batting 5 or 6. He's never opened. So I think that I don't agree with that line of thought. Where McSweeney's batted 3 and 4, and I'm sorry, batting 3 or 4 for South Australia the last 2 years has meant he's virtually opened.
Yep.
We got actually 100 opening run partnership in the game against Queensland, and that
set it up.
Yeah, which is, I think, who knows when our last 100 run, especially in the first innings, has been. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind Constance, but I'm a big McSweeney fan as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, we're talking about the top of the order, but let's talk seriously about Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne. Labuschagne's not exactly setting the world on fire at the moment. He'll probably come out and prove us all wrong and absolutely turn one on for the ages. But is his position a little bit shaky?
I don't think yet. No, I still think he's still got a few runs in the bank. And, I'd be dark if they open with Travis. Leave Travis at 5. For mine, Travis bats 5, 5, 5 or 5.
Well, he's the anchor, isn't he?
Well,
he can either go.
You can win the game from there. Don't stuff him up when he's been so good overall at 5 and inconsistent times. And the way Travis bats is always going to be that way, but he wins your games.
That's right.
So leave him at 5. Marsh has first dibs on 6. So,
that I agree with.
That.
It's more Smith and Labuschagne that I'm going. This is an interesting series for them.
It is, but getting Smith back at 4, I think, helps.
Yep.
Didn't have a good Shield game. He got one terrible LBW decision. Yes, he didn't play a shot, but it's got to be somewhere within 3 stumps, not within about 9.
Yes.
So that was a pretty average decision there. I hope he comes back at 4. And look, it's really ironic. You've got Smith v. Coley, both batting 4.
Yep.
Both with question marks over themselves. So it's you imagine that two fighting each other in that way as well. So yeah.
So if you talked about that perfectly, you led me in nicely there. If you were talking player for player, trying to beat your opponent directly, do you think the Smith Coley one is the key?
Certainly one of the keys.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. You got Bumrah at the top. Ken, Stark and Cummins and Hazelwood there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it does look like it'll be the same bowling attack.
Yep.
How much longer can this bowling attack keep going?
Well,
so there's question marks there to be added.
Again, you've led me perfectly into that next phase is we're all worried about the top of the order. But what's happening down the bottom there as far as bowlers go? Because Australia could potentially be looking at a new bowler coming in as well if someone gets injured.
Yeah, I think Fergus O'Neill's in the equation from Victoria. I think he's got a lot of promise.
Yep.
He's probably the one. Look, Nathan McAndrew on his Shield performances the last couple of years has got to be around the mark as well. Michael Nessa as well, but he's probably fallen away a little bit. It probably his age.
Yep.
You wouldn't thought they're going to replace with a bowler there.
Yep.
So same with Scotty Boland there. So
yep.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
no Cameron Green either.
Yeah,
This is the other thing.
And they need Marsh bowling. He didn't bowl in the Shield game, so they need him bowling though. I thought he might have bowled a few overs in the Shield game, but he didn't. So yeah, we'll see. See what happens.
Very,
there.
very interesting.
Yeah, and then of course we've got to go to this game. So 1 days, and in how many times this happens, all three teams who lost the Shield game won the one days. That happens so often overall.
Do you think it's a freewheeling type thing? Like, we lost this one. Oh, well, we'll just go out and have a bit of fun and get the result? Or
I more think you learn more from losses, and I reckon they might be then a bit more switched on. I was really surprised that South Australia won the toss and batted up in Queensland with the early start.
Yes.
I thought we would have bowled.
Yep.
So I was surprised at that. And Nathan McSweeney virtually let a lone hand, got 137 out of 220.
Yep.
So, yeah. But WA, they're 2 for 53 against Tasmania. So you'd think that stage for reasonably
okay
evenly
start.
poised
Yep.
sort of thing. About 20 minutes later, they're all out for 54.
Yep.
So 6 ducks. Inglis was their third or fourth top scorer with 1.
Yep.
So it looked like a little kid's score sheet.
Yes.
It was quite amusing.
And do you know that 8 for 1, the one run that came from that was from a wide.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
incredible.
is incredible, isn't it?
And so Bo Webster got 6. And Billy Stanlake, who's was regarded as a bit of promise, Queenslander. Of course, he played for the Strikers at one stage, so we probably knew him more from 2020. But he played the one day for Tasmania there. He's down there, and he got 3 for as well. So it'd be good to see Billy come back from, because he's had a lot of injuries. So, yeah. So, anyway.
Very interesting.
Yep.
It's definitely not a score you want to be, looking at for too long. Get over it and get on to the next one.
Crazy.
How do we see the South Australian team? I was nearly going to say the Redbacks there because we did mention it earlier. How do we see the South Australian team performing in the one-dayers?
Well, that was our first loss. We'd had 1 win, 1 draw, and a loss. So now that puts us middle of the road-ish.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was disappointing because I think we have got a good one-day side on paper.
Yep.
They need Fraser McGurk to get some runs, though. All the glory about Fraser McGurk, but it's a bit too much on one innings for mine.
Mm-hmm.
He played his first games for West Torrens on the weekend and the previous weekend,
and it was
got first ballers and made 2 in this game. So there's a bit of, for mine, Fraser, let's see him instead of walk the walk a bit.
Switch on a little bit and start getting some runs no matter where you're playing. Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that South Australia taking on Victoria this week in the Shield.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? And obviously, I know we've got players that are going to be in and out because of the Australia A side of things. Where do you see us sort of placing in this game?
Well, as I said, it's so hard without seeing the sides. I'm really not sure who'll come in because you lose McSweeney, Buckingham. Not sure if it's McAndrew. There's 4. 4 we've lost there to it. So
are they pulling them from the Premier League teams to obviously fill that?
So
then that leads me into my next part about the local cricket, what's been going on there and who's been sort of scoring runs that might come into the Redbacks.
Oh, there's a few players in the mix. Well, of course, we don't know if Travis and Alex play. There's 2 of your six spots
covered.
As it is.
Yep.
And so Connor McInerney, part of 100 Hill Open, I think with Henry Hunt. So Daniel Drew, if it's Alex and Travis play, there's only one more batting spot. Now, Tom Kelly made 100 on the weekend. So whether Jake Lehman keeps his spot or Tom Kelly, who made 100 for Sturt on the weekend, comes in, I think it's probably one of those 2. Mm-hmm. And if there's others out, I think they'll both play.
Yep.
No, so I think that's probably the way it'll go.
I'm certainly going to be watching with interest over the next day or 2.
I'm not sure whether they'll decide whether Spencer Johnson's had enough overs under his belt to play a Shield game. Right. Not sure on that.
Let's keep with the local flavour. Round 1 results finalised.
Yeah, so West Torrens defeated Port Adelaide.
Yep.
There. Let's go to it. Kensington did defeat Teatree Gully.
Yes.
We're going to go. We will go to it. Let's click on. I should have done that. At the
No,
start.
all good.
At least I know exactly where I'm going.
No, that's all right. But also, the cricket grounds, a little bit like the lawn bowls at the moment, are in absolutely pristine condition. Weather conditions has produced some good pitches for runs. A bit like as I said with the lawn bowls at the moment, they're actually flying.
And Adelaide have come up from Div 2, drew with Glenelg. So Glenelg, with the the other side last year, who was very strong, made the grand final all 3 grades, didn't win any of the pennants, but they were certainly around any of the flags,
Yes.
but they were around the mark.
Yep.
For Adelaide, Noah McFadden made 100, and Surah Rajesh, who had a very good year last year in Div 2, now made 81. So I think he's a name they'll be looking at, sort of thing, moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You did have, as I said, Tom Kelly made 100. I was a little bit surprised he batted number 6. I'm more a fan. Hang on. If you want to play state cricket, I'd rather see you batting in your top 4 at your club.
Yes.
So Brad Davis, the evergreen, there, as always, contributed with Sturt. Look, they chased down 273 from Adelaide Uni and got them reasonably comfortably at 5 for 304, only off 61 overs. So they had a lot of overs.
Well, that's a bit like you answering
still
the Bluey questions with 6 seconds to spare, mate. You had plenty to spare.
Plenty to go. So, for Uni, Sam Elder with 58, and Sam Darling, son of Rick. We've had Rick before on the show.
Yep.
He made 76. So, but then Sturt, Harry Mathias, who's in the state squad with 51. He's the 3rd keeper in the state squad with Harry Nielsen.
Yep.
Brad Davis, 76. And as I said, Tom Kelly, 106, only off 81 balls. Obviously didn't feel like running much because it was 10 4s and 6 6s. So he didn't run too much, TK. Obviously, we've had TK on the show as well.
We have.
So there, as we said, Kensington chased down their target of 244 reasonably comfortably as well. An Irish lad, Stephen Donaghy, he's come out from Ireland. He got 48. He's been very good in all games in the other games.
Yes.
The
warm-ups, pre-season.
He got runs in the one days as well, so he's been good. Christian Lettercoat made 96 and Henry Hunt 68. So Henry Hunt comes back in for the second day and batted 3, contributed there. So probably the pleasing result in terms of the Div 2 side of things was the Saka under-19s, who struggled a bit last year overall.
Yep.
Beat Woodville, who'd come down and chased 269 and got them easily at 4 for 273, of which Tom Brown, who's a uni boy, they've moved him up to open. They consider him an opener. It's a little bit amusing because uni don't apparently, but he got 101 not out. And Kane Halfpenny made 59, Teatree Gully boy. So, so they got them reasonably easily with Kyle Adams and Luke Szabo making 47 as well, both of them. So a lot of runs.
Yes.
Well,
like I said, the pitches.
I think the pitches are playing a huge part of that. So,
mate, my question without notice here is obviously this is the second year they've had Division 1, Division 2 type setup. Do you think it's helping the depth of players at the moment, or is it just that the grounds are in fantastic condition and runs are being made?
It's a little bit hard to tell, Jake Lehman made the decision to go to Kensington. So, and East Torrens had a win too. I should have mentioned that.
Yep.
Div 2. Apologies there.
No, that's
I'm sure Mike Kramer and a couple of the East Torrens
They'll
boys
let you know about it.
will let me know on that side of things. But Jake made the decision to go to Kensington to play Div 1 to still give him the best chance of playing state cricket. So, I don't like that, but I understand why.
Yeah. Players move clubs for opportunity, and if they're trying to achieve certain things, then I can totally understand that.
And Ryan King, who made the blistering 180 odd in the one day, has made 81. So he's had a good start to the year as well. Ryan King, a lot of ability. I think he is good enough to play state cricket.
Okay.
So,
very interesting. All right, let's talk a little bit more international here. We did sort of touch on it a bit last week, but let's talk about it a little bit further. New Zealand have had a huge week, not only winning the women's, they then beat India in India for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And then the Silver Ferns in the netball are absolutely braining Australia in the Constellation Cup. Mate,
incredible.
Do you, like I mentioned a touch earlier, does this sharpen up India for the Australian tour? And where does that leave New Zealand at the moment? Because I'm a little confused. They lose to Sri Lanka, and then they go and beat India in India.
Now they play England and New Zealand next, so that's going to make that a pretty big series, whether it keeps New Zealand as a chance to make the World Test Final. The World Test Final is so hard to follow because teams play on different number of Test matches, and so it's not an easy follow, and that's coming from a cricket nut. So I always take that with a bit of grain of salt.
Well, you got some teams that are playing 7 matches, and there's only other teams that have only played 3.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
It does make it very, very interesting, that's for sure.
But huge result for New Zealand. And let's remember, Kane Williamson hasn't played either, who's still the New Zealand's best batsman.
Yep.
So Tom Latham, an incredible start to his captaincy career. Winning India, I'd say that'll do me, thanks. Yeah, I'll just go to the bar the rest of my life.
Yeah,
it is. So, sensational start. And look, Mitchell Satner, again, shows the value of a left-arm orthodox spinner on a wicket which turns a lot.
Yes.
I'm a big fan. If you get a Bunsen burner, you play a left-arm orthodox.
Yep.
We showed it. Stephen O'Keefe got 10 for it, and then because basically the guy who just doesn't spin it much. It spins enough on the Bunsen burner to get the nick or bowl the guy.
Yep.
The guy turns it a fair bit. The guy plays and misses and it spins past. So, so he had 12 wickets for the game. So he had a huge and a run out. He ran Pant out in the second innings for Nord. So he had an incredible test match.
Absolutely. And then the other one was Pakistan getting over England. Mate, do we put Bazball to bed? If you're England, because I'm hearing more and more of the commentators going, this has just got to stop. It's just crazy.
I think they're still too pig-headed with it. I think they've gone too far with it. Instead of going, hang on, there's times to batten down the hatches and fight our way out.
Yes.
And, I just think there's got to be a bit more common sense at times. And big question marks on England's batting lineup. Ollie Pope is feast or famine.
Mm-hmm.
So he got 154 a few test matches ago. And I think he's made 180 runs total. It's just ridiculous, the difference. And so, there's big question marks there with England's side. Big question marks on Ben Stokes' form.
Yes.
Is he do and that? So
that was certainly going to be the question that I was going to ask. All right, mate, one last one before we get out of here. If you had to pick one opener for Australia, who's it, just quickly? I know it's hard, but...
Yeah, I'm still probably on the Constas ban, but it's Constas or McSweeney for me.
All right, let's take a quick little break here, mates. Coming up, Adelaide wasted a few opportunities against North Melbourne, the league leaders. And the Gold Coast 500 sets up an interesting showdown here in Adelaide. And the 36ers get up in overtime, and a couple of imports absolutely lighting the court up.
You're listening to the Game On Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
Looking to buy or sell your home anywhere in Adelaide, from the hills to the sea? Meet Gary KRIEVS, your dedicated local agent from OUWENS CASSERLY Real Estate. With unparalleled knowledge of Adelaide's housing market and a commitment to exceptional service, Gary ensures a smooth and stress-free experience for all your real estate needs. Trust the expert, trust Gary KRIEVS at OUWENS CASSERLY Real Estate. Your next dream home awaits. Contact Gary today on 0422 071 317 or on email garyk@ocre.com.au. And for more listings, please visit owenscasserly.com.au. Make it happen. All right, welcome back to Around the Grounds. The AFL has finally been put onto the second page here, mate, and things are heating up as far as the draft goes. Potential number one, Levi Ashcroft.
Yep. I'll be disappointed if he's not called out number one. Make Brisbane pay as many points as possible. You know Brisbane's going to pick him.
Yes.
So make him pay the point. Make him play the maximum points. I couldn't work that out with Nick Dacos where they let him slide down a few, and the bit to say, oh, it's not as prestigious as the number one draft choice. No, stop being nice. It's stupid.
Absolutely. Finn O'Sullivan looks like, again, phantom drafts here. You know, you can take it with a pinch of salt. The top 10 or top 12 could potentially be number one, really, apart from probably Ashcroft there. Very interesting that O'Sullivan there, I did hear an interview actually with him on the radio tonight, a bit of a Tigers fan, so potentially getting to the Tigers might happen considering Richmond have quite a few picks.
Yeah, and we've got to wait and see whether they manage to do a deal with North Melbourne and get number 2, or whether that gets him there, or does he go to Carlton at 3?
Yes.
So there's still lots of things there.
Sam Laylor looks like being the number 4 pick at this stage, or the 4th in this phantom draft.
Yeah, I think Draper's still a big chance to go to Carlton at 3. I think that's. I hope not, because I want Adelaide to pick him.
Yep.
So if he's available and Adelaide don't pick him, I think it'll be crazy, personally.
So if Carlton get Draper and the 2 Camperale brothers, they are in the window well and truly, aren't they?
I think Draper's a far bigger pickup than the other two.
I get that, but I'm just saying to get all 3 through the door would be a huge, huge effort.
Yeah, they'll get the Camperellis on points base. Look, let's just see how the Camperellis go. I've got big question marks there. I think Ben's more a chance than Lucas.
Yep.
That's my own opinion. Let's wait and see how correct that is.
Yep, fair
and
enough.
that's what you're doing when you watch. And I think that seems to be the genuine concern.
Yep.
Around the trap, so we'll see.
And we're here to form opinions on what we see sometimes and what we don't see.
Oh, exactly.
Things can change. Murphy Reid looks like could be in that top 5, top 6. Draper, they're saying sliding to 7 potentially. But like I said, I think Adelaide will pick him if Carlton don't. And Josh Smiley as well with Alex Turayu.
Yes.
Rounding out sort of that top 9, top 10 there. So... really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out, mate. It's going to be an interesting draft.
Yeah, it will.
Next year's draft, obviously not as strong, so you've really almost got to bank these points now.
Yeah,
don't you?
I always take that with a grain of salt too. Like, this draft wasn't spoken anywhere near as much 12 months ago. Now, who's to say another 12 months out this draft? So, yeah, let's wait and see on that one.
We did talk about Ashcroft there being off the market. I think I agree with you. Points are going to be important, and Draper, as we said there, for Adelaide. The other one for me was, does Scotty Welsh's son get to Adelaide as a father's son? And does that mean that all Adelaide list spots will then be filled?
I think it is. I'm trying to remember whether there's got to be one other, or there's one other choice as well. Yeah.
Because you've got Category Bs, rookies.
It's so complicated as well. A lot more complicated than it used to be. And I think the minimum choice numbers has changed, and all that. Look, I think he'll end up at Adelaide. I'll be surprised if they don't. I think they've invested too much in Tyler not to pick him.
They got him over from Woodville West Torrens to play in the SNFL team, so you would expect that would continue. Yeah. That's for sure. All right, let's leave the AFL alone for a minute or two and get on to the AFLW. Adelaide going down by 8 points to North Melbourne at Nord Oval, or the home of football, as you like to call it. You would have been on the scoreboard.
Yes.
Adelaide wasted some opportunities, mate.
They certainly did. They missed a couple of sitters, and Hutch. I think they missed one from 3 or 4 yards out, and they had enough opportunities and inside 50s and all that. They lack a quality crummer. Martin and Whitehouse try hard, but lack a bit of polish. That's probably the real weakness in their side.
Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't think Jess Allen rucked as well. Got a hand of the ball. There was a bit Riley O'Brienish just hitting it.
Is that a case of players getting tired because of the schedule?
It's
catching
up. I've certainly, as I've made very clear, I rate Sarah Allen for her footy smarts. And for mine, she's not moving as freely as she's not a natural a super athlete.
Yep.
But reads it, gets to the right spot. Thought she was better Friday night than a couple of the other games.
Yes.
But I'm sure she's one example of where the game's so close together has really hurt. And look, let's see afterwards how many of them ice absolutely all over them. Now, while that's common, still means a hell of a lot if you're going to try and play 4 and 5 days later. And, yeah, the draw's been ridiculous. And all it's done, remember too, it's just made it more and more contest. Now, that if anything, the girls need the bigger gap than guys because the guys move the ball out the space.
Mm-hmm.
It can still be think. Where female is just more bash.
Yep.
You know, so
the men's is probably a little bit more, I
skilled
suppose,
and
violent contact, but a lot less of it because the ball does move quite quickly.
The girl is just so consistent with bash and crash.
Yep, absolutely. Indigenous round, obviously, there for the AFLW. The Hawthorn Hawks getting up over Melbourne there by 8 points.
Yep.
Hawthorn have gone to another level this year. They're almost doing what the male counterparts have done as well.
Yeah, no, they've one of the sides that came in later, they've been very good. So full credits to the Hawks there.
Absolutely. Port Adelaide's are on a hot streak at the moment, and now they will definitely play finals for the first time in the AFLW.
Yeah, unless
career.
there's a monumental results go.
Yeah, totally
but
the other
they'll
way.
beat the Giants
But beating the Suns by 34 points certainly looked the better of the two teams. Their structure at the moment is actually very, very good.
Yeah, well, so you get Scholes and Scholes come in, Window. So they picked up a couple of the better Adelaide girls who previously would have been at Adelaide.
Yes.
So that's where it's sort of evened it right out. And if Indy Rashid ends up at Port as well, this next bit, as I've said numerous times, she'll be the best player in the comp within 3 years. That's going to be huge as well.
And Adelaide's ageing list, they need to think about what's coming up for the future as well.
Yeah.
Matty Clark's got a bit of a tough job on his hands. Other winners were Geelong by 33 points. Essendon had a draw up in Darwin there against Richmond. 1 point win to the Western Bulldogs at various stages this year. They've struggled, but all of a sudden now have found a bit of form.
Yeah, to their credit, they've been better because they'd had 3 games in a row where they hadn't kicked a goal.
Oh, yep.
Jeez.
Yep. Carlton, the Mighty Blues, getting up over Collingwood by 4 points there at Victoria Park. And Brisbane absolutely doing almost a grand final job on Sydney there by 68 points. The two form teams once again are definitely North Melbourne and Brisbane, but Adelaide is still within striking distance if they put it together.
And that was the talk afterwards where I think they went, well, hang on. We're actually pretty competitive there, and we cost ourselves the game. It wasn't a case of North. Although I always thought North Melbourne looked a bit cleaner than Adelaide.
Yes.
But Adelaide had enough of the ball.
Yep.
I still thought North Melbourne's skills were a bit better overall.
Yep, absolutely. Adelaide taking on Geelong this week down at Cardinia Park.
Yeah, so big game. Hopefully they'll get a win and then at least compete from there. But, yeah, I think any home final, unfortunately, went out the door.
Yep, no, fair enough. Port Adelaide will be playing, as you said, the Giants. Any thoughts on that one there, mate?
I think be there for Craig Martin's show. So.
Oh, of course, yes.
So
if it wasn't in the afternoon, I would certainly be attending as
I'll
well. Happy
probably
birthday to Craig,
Yes.
Previous guest of ours, and we might get him on to talk some golf. I know he was pretty busy on the golf course last week as well. Collingwood taking on Melbourne. Tip?
I don't think either team plays finals, do they?
Melbourne sitting 9th at the moment.
So Melbourne is slight. Yeah, I'll tip Melbourne.
Yep.
And slight chance still and all that. Yep.
Eagles v the Swans.
Eagles because it's in Perth.
No, it's in
I'll
Sydney.
still go the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Eagles there. I think
Sydney
Daisy's done a very good job with West Coast there.
Even better to get her out of the commentary box.
North Melbourne taking on the Suns.
North Melbourne.
Carlton taking on Essendon.
I'll go Essendon.
I'm going to go Carlton, even though that they are 14th on the ladder.
Yep.
The Brisbane Lions taking on St Kilda.
Brisbane
for me. Hawthorn taking on Richmond.
That's probably the game of the round. I'll go Hawthorn.
Yep, and Fremantle taking on the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'll go Fremantle.
Fair enough. This time next week, mate, we're going to have, obviously, finals ready and raring to play. So, huge time for the AFLW. Let's move on to basketball. Overtime win against the Taipans here in Adelaide, and Adelaide's imports are definitely showing the way.
I may have been following this quite closely on the scoreboard. Yeah, and that got a bit more time at AFLW in that way. And, and they drew. We drew in overtime. So then I'd pack everything up, and knowing that it was the last game, I probably packed things up a bit more really precisely, knowing that it was going to sit there now for months.
Yes.
So then clicked on, and before caught up with the illustrious Wayne Walker after the game, father of, and delighted to see that Adelaide had got up in overtime.
Absolutely. Definitely Adelaide are starting to get on a little bit of a roll. Is it a concern that the coach has got to fire up certain players or niggle certain players to get results?
I think that happens all the time, and purely because the fact that Scotty Ninnis got unceremoniously sacked, we're probably watching a bit more closely and being a bit more harsh on the current coach than what we would be if the situation had been a bit more plateaued and that sort of things.
Yep, fair enough. Adelaide heading over to, I believe, New Zealand.
Yes, Breakers.
To the Breakers.
Yep.
Obviously looking for another win there and really cementing themselves in the guts of that ladder, basically.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to soccer very, very quickly. I was going to mention it a little bit later, but I'll mention it now. Yep. Adelaide United having a 1-1 draw on, was it Friday night at Cooper Stadium?
No, Sunday.
Sunday at Cooper Stadium.
Yeah, a bizarre first goal. And if anyone hasn't seen Adelaide United's goal, have a look. It is quite amusing how it wasn't cleared there. So 1-1 draw
against Central Coast.
So reasonable.
And taking on Western Sydney Wanderers. Round 3, Saturday the 2nd of November, 7:05 local time here in Adelaide. So on Paramount Plus, 10 play and 10 bold. So plenty of opportunities there to watch the soccer.
So good time slot. So
absolutely.
I'll see what my son's up to. Yep.
No worries. I'm sure he'll get you involved. We'll talk a little bit more EPL in a minute, mate. But coming up, we've got Scotty BORLACE part 1. Absolutely looking forward to that. And as you say, Sir Anthony Harvey.
You're listening to the Game On Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
Are dents and scratches putting a dent in your day? Introducing Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide, your trusted solution for automotive woes. With over 2 decades of expertise, Roger Steen Crash Repairs guarantees top-notch service, restoring your vehicle to its former glory in no time. From minor dings to major collisions, our skilled technicians handle it all with precision and care, using state-of-the-art equipment and techniques.
Roger Steen Crash Repairs saved my car. It looks brand new.
Fast, friendly and reliable. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my vehicle. Don't let accidents slow you down. Visit Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide at 14 Penner Avenue, Glynde, for quality service you can count on. And here's a special offer just for our listeners. Mention this podcast and receive a $100 discount on your repair. Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide. Excellence in every repair.
Flashbacks.
All right, mate, today on Flashbacks, we've a bit of a cricket theme today, and I couldn't go past the 1981-82 Sheffield Shield South Australian Redbacks, mate.
Yes, no. And the winning run hit by Jeff Crow off the late John Scholes. The ball probably landed about where you are compared to where I'm sitting. So
right.
Really
close.
It was one where I nearly could have reached over the fence and pinched off with a ball.
Yep.
So 81, I was 18. Malcolm Dolman invited me into the rooms afterwards. Now, certain late David Williams Hooks wasn't overly happy with that.
Yep.
But I actually just sat in the corner and really for the night hardly said a word and was like a kid on a candy store. And,
yep.
Yeah.
Just
and
soaking it all
then,
in.
Yeah, and then the players left and went to the Grenfell Tavern from there, and I sort of staggered home about midnight. And it was an interesting walk down the steps of the grandstand, and I wasn't the only one who struggled getting down those steps, by the way. But yes, a great memory there. On the first day, Julian Weiner got run out by a brilliant piece of fielding by Brian Vincent off Sam Parkinson, which got us back in the game. And then Andrew Sincock, a couple of wickets for stumps, bowled Davies. I'm doing this off the top of my head.
Yeah,
too,
you're
by the
doing
way.
very well, mate.
And then with the batting, everyone sort of contributed. So Flipper and Rick Darling opened, both got runs. Hooksy got runs. Invers, we batted this consistently right through their innings.
Yep.
And then bowled them out on the last day, and then had the run chase 120, 140 odd. Flip and Rick Darling, reasonable start, and then Crowe and Flip finished the job. And fantastic memories.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's sit back and relax and enjoy the last couple of minutes of the Sheffield Shield win.
And the fifth Victorian wicket down to 193. 24 runs later, Sacrosanti chasing a leg by. Batsman on strike Brad Green isn't interested. Both Vicks caught at the same end, and a tragic result for Green. The Vicks tail then started to wag until Vincent trapped Callan, caught Crowe in the gully. The end of a 64-run partnership. Vincent strikes again, and another top catch to David Hooks. The end in sight. Sleep to Jim Higgs, and after a long consideration, the umpire rules him out, caught at the wicket. Victoria all out 286, leaving South Australia 161 runs to win in about 150 minutes. The home team got straight down to business. Wayne Phillips hitting Ian Callan to the fence. Callan again, and a delightful square cut into the pickets by Phillips. And the South Australians on the way to the 1981-82 Sheffield Shield.
How's it feel?
Bloody marvellous. Something you don't sort of expect at the start of the year when you're bottom. All we tried to do this year was to be competitive, to finish somewhere in the middle of the table. That was our aim at the start of the year. We didn't have any grandiose ideas about finishing top. But all year we seem to have played pretty well, pretty consistently, pretty steadily, and the rewards are there now, aren't they?
You feel pleased about rubbing New South Wales in the dirt today?
Nothing gives me greater pleasure. Rick McCoskey wants to ring me up, I'll be by the phone waiting.
Do you ever have any doubts about that tactic of batting on into yesterday?
No, I think that, if you look at the situation and if you do your sums correctly, it doesn't matter. I mean, and the way to describe that, of course, is that there were always going to be 300 runs scored yesterday and 300 today, which is 600 runs. We knew to win we had to bowl them out in 7 hours. Now, whether we started yesterday at 11 o'clock and bowled them out today at 12 and then made the runs, doesn't matter which way you do it, or whether you bat until tea and bowl them out tonight by 5 and make the remaining runs. We made 140 of our 300 yesterday. There it is, 301 runs total. So that's the way that we planned it. We knew that we had to bowl them out in 7 hours to win whichever 7 hours we chose to bowl them out in. So it doesn't really matter. So we were pretty confident. We were quietly confident that if we could bowl them out, we'd win.
It was a great team effort. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, Tar.
Extra time. Big finish.
All right, mate, before we kick on, I'm sure you've got a couple of little memories there just at the end.
Yeah, it was 160 odd. I was trying to remember how many we were chasing. I knew we recently always had it in control, so yeah, it was hard to remember exactly how many. But yeah, Hooksy moved himself on a whim to the gully. He said there's going to be a catch, go to the gully next ball, and sure enough it was.
He got it.
He did that sort of thing, Hooksy, in terms of, fly by the pants, but go with his gut feel, and geez, a lot of the time it came off.
Absolutely. Let's talk tennis, mate. Aussies well represented at this year's end-of-season tournament. Thompson, Purcell, Ebden and Perez all qualify for the last tournament of the year, or the major tournament at the end of the year.
We're certainly getting numbers up there. We just want someone to come through and win a bit more, but there's huge progression, no doubt about
Well,
that.
first
You can't
time
argue
for a
about
little
that.
while that 10 Aussies are inside the top 100.
It's fantastic.
It's a great feeling towards the end of this season, and everything starts again, obviously, in January at the Australian Open. But I feel like we're a bit better placed than we have been for a long, long time.
Certainly depth-wise. And the big thing, let's also remember the ridiculous number of nations who play tennis and are around the mark. So 10 in the top 100 is huge.
Absolutely. Let's talk NBA. LeBron and his son take the court together. It was a historical moment for the NBA. But his son didn't quite live up to expectations. They think that he might be heading back down to the G League.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, still a great memory for the two of them.
Yep. And a good springboard as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Let's talk motorsport. Gold Coast 500 was run and won. Brody Kostecki was the winner there. But it now sort of keeps things alive for Adelaide. So
which is fantastic.
Absolutely. More and more crowds coming to Adelaide for all these events. It's almost getting to that silly part of the year again where there's just stuff on. And we've said it before, well done to Peter Malinauskas and his team to get these events here and absolutely have the city buzzing alive here. So really looking forward to that. All right, mate, we're whizzing through them pretty quickly here. The World Series is underway, but Los Angeles currently hold a 3-0 lead. It's going to be hard for New York to catch up now, isn't it?
Yeah, you certainly money's well and truly on Los Angeles to get to capture that.
Yeah. Obviously, Los Angeles winning the Dodgers winning the first two games at home, getting the first one away certainly puts a bit of a dent in New York's aspirations. That's for sure.
Yeah, very much so. That's huge.
It's going to be tough. Yeah. We'll go back to the soccer a little bit there. Manchester United sacked their coach.
Yeah, look, where they are on the table at the moment, it was going to come.
Yep.
Yeah, so kabang. See you later.
What about teams after dynasties of coaches that have done very well? Because they've had 6 or 7 coaches since the great man decided that he was moving on. Alex Ferguson moving on, or Sir Alex Ferguson moving on. Same can be applied here with Essendon. They've not been any good since Sheedy's sort of hung up. Yeah. Is there any other teams or any other dynasties like that have not done so well after such a figurehead has left?
You certainly had Brisbane there for a while with Voss and that way, and then they stagnated there, and now they've finally come good again. So that's probably one. But yeah, it's just Manchester United. Remembering there's no, in terms of over there, it's just generally the same teams that contend. So where they are on the table is just
unusual.
Yeah, and unacceptable as far as they're concerned.
Ange Postecoglou starting to show a few little cracks.
Yeah, there has been.
Here and there.
Yes.
Mate, do I dare ask how QPR are going at the moment?
No, you don't ask.
Nope. All right, next question. No. Chelsea are going all right.
We're Shies and Housing.
And Chelsea are going all right at the moment, so I'm actually not too happy.
We did get a draw on the weekend.
Yeah.
A 0-0 result's a great result for QPR at the moment.
There you go. No, as I said, Chelsea going all right, so I'm pretty happy at the moment. All right, mate, let's talk SANFL. Any potential news on Nord coaches?
Well, it's a bit hard. James Fantasia's overseas. Now, okay, you do link-ups and all that as well, which I'm sure is happening. Look, there's a few names mentioned around the traps. Jade Sheedy's name's been mentioned.
Yep, I did see that one come up.
Darren Pfeiffer's name's been mentioned. Jace Bode, but I think Jade Sheedy he's certainly, my understanding is he said the Flyer's been relit and all that. Probably recognised himself, my word, around the traps. He admitted he got too intense for his own good.
Yep.
Interesting enough, what we've talking about Scotty BORLACE, bit about that along those lines tonight with Scotty.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait and see. Look, but Glenelg already.
Well,
they get partying them back. They've recruited Purcell. Oh, good luck.
This is where I was going to go with it. Some of the comings and goings. Adelaide don't have any coming at the moment, but they will obviously soon. Elliot Himmelberg, Ned McHenry, Patrick Parnell, and Will Hamill, and Lockie Gallant, obviously out of there. But
can we get him? Let's say I'll have $1 on Ned McHenry playing at PAC.
Okay.
All
right. $1 it is. There you go. For Glenelg, their comings, and this is where I was going to go with it, and you sort of led me beautifully into it, is at this stage, probably Glenelg and Sturt have recruited the best. I know there's a fair way to go, but they've got a bit of a head start. But
massively.
Jared Lyons coming from Brisbane, Patrick Parnell and Luke Partington, as you mentioned there. They do lose Matthew Snook, Will Gould and Austin Kosicki and Noah Sims as well. So a couple of outs there, but some very, very handy ins.
Big chance to get Sam Durden back as well. So, God, good luck.
Absolutely. Obviously, Nord, we've talked about their outs.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get some pretty quality ins and get it quite quickly. But let's talk Sturt very quickly. Mitch Crowden coming from East Perth.
Yeah, comes back.
Yep. Marty Frederick coming from Claremont. Comes back. Lachlan May from Nairn. I can't pronounce this last name, but he's come from the Ramblers and Murray Bridge. Macali Carr. Yep, no, I'm not going to attempt it. Apologies there. Yeah. Guy Page, obviously moving on. Stephen Slimming. Yep. Luke Puncher and Ben Jeffries and Charlie Moreland. So a couple outs, but some very, very handy ins.
Look, I think Glenelg, though, at the moment. Jared Lyons will dominate the SNFL too. He'll come back with the right attitude. Pretty pumped to play with his brother.
Yep.
And Partington as well. Jeez, yeah.
Yep. Glenelg have certainly topped up where they needed to. Jared Lyons, maybe early front runner for McGarry Medal. I know it's early, but you'd have to say if you think he's going to dominate, I think he's going to dominate too. Yep. Interesting. All right, mate. I know we did ask, and I've been asking for a couple of weeks now, the dinner party. He still hasn't put his dinner party list together.
No, let's just say a certain accident put things on the back burner today. It was going to happen this afternoon, and until that happened.
Yeah. Fair enough, mate. Any last-minute questions, good, bad, the ugly for the week?
No, the best bit was obviously winning the quiz, personally.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, worst bit was the prank.
Yep.
Stupid cow. Going 7 second delay. What I think about that? So look, good with South Australia winning a 2 in the Shield game.
Absolutely
disappointing the one day, but look, I can't deny Shield for me is the mecca.
Yep. Hey, and I'm not a cricket nuffy, and I thought it was fantastic too. I was punching the air when I thought it was going to be a little bit tighter than what it was, and then all of a sudden I came back to it and they'd won, and it was like, hey, happy days.
Yeah. So big game this week. So
absolutely. My good for the week, like you, was the Redbacks winning there. My bad for the week was probably Adelaide squandering opportunities there in the AFLW. My good there was probably Port Adelaide making the finals for the first time as well. And my ugly is probably England and losing to Pakistan and the way that they went about it.
I think we're probably going to have to put a jar on the table, and each of us have got to throw money in if we say Redbacks, because we're not allowed to say that anymore.
No,
it's very
South
much
Australia.
South Australia.
Yep, no, fair enough.
Yeah, so and don't worry, I'm the same. I'm still saying it. But see how we go.
Absolutely. All right, mate. We better wind things up there. Once again, I thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a big night. We have interviewed Scotty BORLACE.
Yep.
Part 1 of that will be coming up on Friday, so listen out for that. And if you haven't done it so far, on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and any podcast provider, Apple, Spotify, anything else, please like, rate, and subscribe. Those numbers certainly help us.
Yep, and get encourage your mates to listen as well.
Absolutely, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
and
mate.
as per usual, we promise to do better next time.
Thanks, mate.
In this crazy world we live in, we all need the distraction. Enjoying the show? Like, rate, and subscribe. Hook up and connect with us on social media at Sportscast SA. We'll see you next time on Game On.